You were dropping 30 a game when teams were averaging 95. Mm. Now they're averaging almost 20 points more per game than that. What do you think you could average today?
I got some flack behind that, but definitely 40 or more, definitely. Because, I mean, my best season, I averaged 33, and I know I could average 10 more points than I did. And I'm just...
So you could have averaged 40 a game?
I know it for a fact. Just because, Zoo, the game is so wide open. You know what I mean? It was never a problem for me to get past the guy that was guarding me. I've never even thought about him, the guy that was guarding me. I was always worried about the next level of the defense. So if you got the big guys playing on the perimeter and they way out there guarding Joel because he can shoot threes, by the time I get past my man, I'm laying the ball up. Because how can he recover from being way out there? So I'm just thinking the game is just so wide open and so offensive oriented that I would have had a field day. You know, when I was playing, they were, I mean, after I, won all those scoring titles or whatever, then all of a sudden they implemented the a zone. But the whole history of the NBA, they never played zone at all until I started winning all them scoring titles, and then they implemented a zone. Like when I was in college, I was telling my teammates, like, no more 2-3s, no more 1-3-1s, no more boxing ones. Now you got to play me man to man all night. And how can you stop me playing man to man all night? I'm gonna have a field day. And then a couple years go by, then they put in a zone. Now you got a zone in the NBA.
Hey, could you have helped Ben Simmons?
Without question. As a matter of fact, Brett Storm asked me to. He said to me, I want you to do 3 sessions with Ben Simmons, so have your daughter send me a bill for that. And I said, okay, but I won't do it unless you ask Ben and he gives the okay. And he never got back to me, which means that Ben said, no, I don't want to do it. So he's a young man that really never wanted to get better. And I think that's the biggest problem that he's had in his career.
Does it frustrate you that somebody that talented did not seem, at least from your opinion, willing to repair his shot?
No, exactly. And it's not like we were going to, get married or something like that. I'm just going to teach him how to shoot. And all he had to do was just come the first time. And if he didn't like it, that's fine. But I would have definitely have helped him because I it's so obvious to people who don't really know a lot about shooting, looking at his stroke, and it had everything to do with his guide hand. His shooting hand, left hand, of course, and then his right hand was messed up. And nothing will throw up your shot more than the improper positioning of your guide hand.
Yeah, and of course, for those who forget, Ben was left-handed. Or do you think he was left-handed? Some think he favored his left, but he was really right-handed.
Yeah, they say he could throw a football with either hand, a baseball with either hand. And it didn't help him because he didn't really. And when your coach tells you that he wants you to take at least 1-3 a game and you don't do it, then it's obvious what you have. You have a confidence problem.
There was one game where you did something in the game and somebody was watching with the subtitles on, and I mentioned your name, Nick Stauskas, and for some reason the voice recognition system didn't recognize Nick Stauskas, and it came up with Sauce Castillo, and that became a thing for a while. Did you ever try to capitalize on that? Maybe with some kind of a product?
I did have my own hot sauce I
think I remember that now.
For a couple of years. Yeah, it happened pretty quickly after the nickname was born. I didn't really ever think the nickname was going to stick, but people loved it. They thought it was I think the story of how it came about with it being a closed captioning error. I think people really just latched on to that. But I mean, Sauce is a cool name. Like once people were asking me like, are you okay with Sauce? I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get a better nickname than that. So I just, I stuck with it, got a little hot sauce deal. And then even now to this day, like when I'm in Philly walking down the street and someone says hi, like no one says, yo, Nick, what's up? Like everyone's, yo, Sauce, what's going on, man? How you And so it still lives on to this day. Like I'm not in Philly, I'm Sauce only. So it's whatever the people want, but I'm all for it.
One night the Sixers are playing, you're in the game, it's in Toronto. You go up like 4 feet and you slam a ball in off of a putback. And I mentioned your name. And then I said, hold me back, fam. Do you remember that? It's the first time I used that. I had it in my hip pocket. Scott Rigo, then the equipment manager, gave it to me, and I just kind of held it. Do you remember, seeing any texts in that regard or anything like that? Because I know that subsequent to that, you would see me in the hallway at games. You'd say, hold me back, fam. And it became like a thing that you and I eventually did.
It was so fitting that you said it in Toronto, which is my hometown. And fam is like I wouldn't say it's Toronto slang because people say fam everywhere, but it very much is how people in Toronto would speak. Hold me back, fam. Like it was just so fitting that you said it there in Toronto. And strangely enough, I had 4 dunks that game. I'm like thinking back to it. I had 4 dunks that game. I was just extra bouncy. And that putback was one of those ones. I think it was Robert Covington shot a 3 from the left wing and I was in the right corner. And as he shot it, I started crashing from the weak side. And it was one of those things where it was like, I could tell the ball was going to bounce off the front of the rim and come to my side. And I just kind of got that perfect angle on it for a nice putback. And then, it wasn't really the dunk. It was really your commentary that made the clip go viral on social media. And then, that's when Hold Me Back Fam was born. And that became our little thing.
So your last game, May 12th, 2019, a date that will live in infamy for Sixers fans. Game 7 in Toronto, Kawhi Leonard, the 4 bouncer, which sends them on, and of course, eventually an NBA title. What if that shot doesn't go in? Do the Sixers win the game in overtime? Because I had a friend who was at the game. He was covering it. He swears that the Raptors were gassed. They weren't going to last another 5 minutes, A. And B, if the Sixers win the game, does that team stay together?
So I'm biased. I think if that shot does not go in, we win the game. And then if things played out the same that they did, I think we win an NBA championship. That's my opinion. And I think that team obviously stays together, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
Could that team have stayed together? I mean, just given the fact that, for example, both Ben and Jimmy Butler needed the ball, could they have coexisted? Could that have worked out?
I for sure think that could have worked out. I mean, it was showing how effective it was. When we would bring Jimmy in and have him bringing the ball up the floor, and Ben would move to the 4. It was effective, and I think it definitely could have worked out for sure.
Hey, it's Marc Zumoff. Join me and Philly sports favorite Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, MMA champ Eddie Alvarez, Joe Conklin, Dee Lynam, Matt Cord, Ricky Bowe, and the Cuz, Anthony Gargano. What a lineup. We want you to join us on the Bet Parks team. Bet Parks is the official winning partner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the only casino and sports book that yours truly, Marc Zumoff, recommends and uses. Whether your team scores or not, there's always another way to win on the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Bet Parks has your seat with a live dealer for all your favorite classic casino games. Right on your phone and wherever you are, the tailgate, the stadium, on your couch. Double down on 4th down. Make downtime fun time. Play live dealer blackjack, craps, roulette, and more while watching the game. Bet on all your favorite sports. Bet the Birds, pro football, and college football. Download the BetParx app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Play hundreds of exciting online slots. New users download the BetParx online casino app and sportsbook and get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Casino bonus must be wagered. See betparx.com for details. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParx. Tyrese Maxey, is he the closest thing in a Sixer uniform that you've seen that resembles you?
That's a fact. That's a fact. Just bigger, stronger, but with the same attitude, the same killer attitude. You know what I mean? The same confident. And I love it. I love everything about him.
Well, you haven't missed a chance as far as Tyrese Maxey is concerned. You've taken him in many ways under your wing. How did all that start? Why did you even do that?
Tyrese is going to be a successful human basketball player, whether if he met me or not. I came into Philly, it was his second year, and everything, with the Ben Simmons thing, Tyrese was starting, coming off the bench. Shake Milton gets injured. Tyrese is starting. And a lot of pressure was put on Tyrese to perform. And to his credit, he has done exactly that. But there are some tough times, and I just wanted to be there for him, to know that he has someone to put his arm around him, and believes in him, and no matter what, that he'd always have someone to lean on. So in that aspect, I've kind of taken him under my wing. By any means, I have not taught him his moves to the rim or how to dunk on people, but I want to try and take a little credit for his three-point shooting ability. But no, I'm just kidding. He's done a great job and tremendous job. But Tyrese is such a joy to be around. The happy guy that you see from the outside looking in is the same person that he is on a day-to-day basis. And being around such a positive person like that, I feel like it was only right for me to try and, guide him along the way. But to no avail, he does not need my help. He's going to be successful either way, but I'm glad that I can be a small part in his life, especially while I'm here in Philadelphia.
It's funny, too, because I know you're very competitive, and here is the student, so to speak, whizzing past the teacher. His three-point percentage is at 43%. You ended the year at 40%. And I know you're uber competitive. I would imagine it makes for a lot of jokes. Is that right?
Yes. The funny thing is we actually have the stats up in the facility. And when he was shooting like 38% and I was shooting in the 40s, I was telling him, like, there's no chance you'll catch me. There's absolutely not. And he took that to heart and went out there. And I remember there's games he was shooting like 6 for 7. I was like, you need to go out there. If we're already winning, you need to go out there and miss some more shots. But we have a belt that we give out, and we give it out at the end of the year. So as of yesterday, I walked in and saw that the belt was on his locker, and I was like, dang it, he surpassed me. But I couldn't be happier for him. He's worked so hard, and he deserves all the success that's coming his way.
Last August, in fact, you came home. You were at the Man playing before a sellout, and the Eagles' Jason Kelce comes on stage, and you start doing the Eagles song. Was that surreal, or was that surreal?
Honestly, it's as surreal as it gets. I think I've said before, like when we started out, I always tried to make goals to, so you don't just dig endlessly. In sports, we don't really have in music, we don't really have like a championship where it's clear end. But man, like I always just thought about coming back to Philly. And actually the original goal was, like, I remember saying I wanted to sell out the Fillmore here in Philly. And, to play a place that's obviously bigger than the Fillmore and have, obviously a huge sports fan and have Jason Kelce up there. It still feels weird, man. I'll tell you, it's amazing.
And you did some work for his charity. Some of the proceeds from the concert went. Connor Barwin was there as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we've worked with Make the World Better, which is Connor Barwin's charity, and Be Philly is Jason Kelsey's charity. And, those guys are, I feel like everybody knows in the city, they've obviously had a huge impact on the field, and then they do such a good job giving back to the community. And yeah, we look up to them in that sense. So it was good to be a part of that.
It's you and Shaquille O'Neal on the TNT set, and it's a rather playful moment, and it really got everybody laughing. Let's take a look.
We got one more. Let's see if it makes Shaq give him another $20. Oh, what's more disrespectful, what Shaq did to Chris Dudley or what Will Smith did to Chris Rock? Wow.
Oh, you asked me the question?
That was a question for you. There's no one better to ask.
I'm going to choose mine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. You gonna plead the 5th?
Now you're going to choose yours.
No, I'm going to choose mine.
Yours is more disrespectful.
Keep my name out your mouth, man.
I'll smack you so hard.
Over here. Yo,
I'm not gonna go down like Chris Rock.
real nice.
Great to see you as always.
Yo.
Keep my name out your mouth, Adam.
Me, Shaq, wait. Candace, we're gonna miss you, Candace.
I miss y'all.
Let's end with this. A little pink magic. Yeah, I'm gonna get you so bad.
I'm playing. Here, settle out. Lawsuit.
Give it to me.
So this is Shaquille O'Neal playfully slapping you. Now, I just want to back away for a second and say this. You as a kid, you're growing up and you're watching Shaquille O'Neal as a player, and now he's on the set of a nationally televised show and he's playfully slapping you, and you're all part of this shtick. Do you ever have like an out of body moment where, even if you're just watching it later on, am I actually part of this?
It's always your friends that make comments that trigger that realization in you. I had a friend that came by the studio and hung out one night, and he just kept being like, I can't believe this. And then it made me realize, oh wait, I went to preschool with this kid, and he's shocked. Jamal Crawford says to me all the time, did you ever think? Because he's very reflective and he's very observant. Shaq is the biggest kid I've ever met in my entire life. Our second show together, he goes, you ever see that clip of Bruce Smith when he faints during an interview? And I was like, yeah. He goes, we can recreate that. And I said, okay. And I'm thinking he meant like a week from now or 2 weeks from now. And I go, yeah, like I'll just talk and blah, blah, blah. And then as I was doing that, he tripped himself, fell on the brand new set, broke it, glass shatters. Wade and Candace are going, what? And then I'm the only one that knows. And he rolls over and he looks at me and he winks. And I was like, and he stuck out his hand and he goes, we're going to make a lot of viral videos together.
When I go to an Eagles game and settle down in my seats, I just take this deep breath and say, oh, what a great location. That's what it's all about at a sporting event, at a concert, theater, comedy, whatever. That's where Game Time comes in. I'm talking about the Game Time app. I'm talking about GameTime.co. And really what I'm talking about is Game Time Picks. Simply, it gets you the best deals on the best seats like that. The Birds, my guys, the Sixers. Whoa, don't forget Red October, the Phils. Got to do it for that. Me personally, I'm all about finding the best seats quickly and what the view looks like. Go to the Game Time app or GameTime.co and Game Time Picks. It's got you covered. The best seats, the best prices. It's that easy with Game Time.
What was it like to have a front row seat for the Allen Iverson, Larry Brown show?
That was a fun time. It was not a lot of boring times. It was always exciting. It was, two interesting personalities that maybe saw some things a different way. But at the end of the day, two competitors that really wanted to win, really wanted to get better, really wanted to just hated to lose. And so a little bit different philosophies of how to get to the end goal. But in 2001, getting to the NBA Finals, and the last time Philly had been there, they saw eye to eye, and they met on some common ground. And I think just the potency of Iverson. I think sometimes when you get a special player like Iverson, you might have to change your philosophies a little bit. I think it happened at Georgetown with John Thompson. I think he had a system, and you realize, hey, this is somebody who's special, and maybe I need to do things a little bit differently. And then I think when they saw eye to eye on that, we had some pretty good results. And I think Billy King did a great job putting a team together around Iverson to complement some of those special talents that he had, and it all worked pretty well for that magical year in 2001.
When they didn't see eye to eye, how did that affect the team?
I think at that point everyone's pretty professional. That everyone was just kind of trying to take care of their own business and kind of let that stuff work itself out. So I think there was always a job to do, and I think there were some times where maybe if Iverson didn't play in the odd game, I sort of would get the concept that teams would look at us and say, you guys can't win without Iverson. And I think in the long run that would have been true. But I think for a game or two, I think guys were ready to prove like, hey, Iverson is he's a huge part of this team, but we can still get the odd win in other ways. And so I think sometimes we surprise some teams, and then of course you wanted him back as soon as possible because of just how incredible a talent he was. But I think in every now and then, if we had one game where he was out with an injury, sometimes we surprised some teams that we had some guys that could get the job done.
Describe what it was like to be part of that whole show, traveling with him and all the adulation and attention that he got. What was it like for you to observe all that stuff?
It was just fun to be around. He's such a great player and such just a larger than life character, somebody that's super fun to be around. And I'd heard when I first got there that he used to hang out at Fridays, and in my head I'm like, Fridays must be like a cool nightclub or something. And then at Fridays, and he was in the corner with his friends, and I had some friends from Winnipeg there, and I'm sort of new to the team, and I knew Allen a little bit. We were teammates, but he's this superstar, and I'm just Todd from Winnipeg. So I think at some point he passed our table, and I said, "Hey, Allen, I don't mean to bother you, but I just wonder if you could maybe sign an autograph for my friends or take a picture." And he's like, "Sure, I'll do that, but who are you?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm just messing with you. Lighten up." And I was like, I just such a larger than life personality, somebody that you wanted to be around because he was so much fun, and he just had a great sense of humor. And so if there's a chance we could go to a movie or something, and I remember jumping on the bus, and he's like, "Todd, there's stuff we can do together. We can hang out. I like movies. You like movies. Let's go to." I was like, "I would love to. I think that would be great." And so I just he was just so entertaining. I always wanted to hear what he had to say. He was just a very unique person who people want to be around, and it's not just because he's a great basketball player, because he had such good energy, and he was so much fun and hilarious. And I feel lucky to have just seen the Allen Iverson show. It was one of the funniest people I've ever known.
One topic I always wanted to broach with you was the fact that when you were drafted, the Sixers, we all thought we had the backcourt of the future with you and Jerry Stackhouse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this precipitated his trade to Detroit or not, but I remember coming to a practice. I'm almost positive it was at Wells Fargo Center. You and he started trash talking, and then Larry Brown blew the whistle. There was a timeout. You guys came over to drink some water, and the next thing I knew, you guys were throwing haymakers at each other.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I mean, it was just, I don't remember it. I have vivid memory of it. I don't remember that much. I just remember throwing punches, and none of them was landing. None of his was landing. None of mine was landing. So obviously, we didn't really want to hit each other. But that was a crazy story because it was a big deal back then.
Oh yeah.
And we're the best of friends now. I mean,
that right?
Oh man, the best of friends. You know what I mean? And have been for a long time. And I love Jerry to death.
Let's get into the Center City Arena, something that I think you live with every single day, almost every single hour of the day.
Yeah.
It's been almost 2 years now since the team announced that it intended to build something called 76th Place and have it ready by the 2031-32 season. Are you on schedule to make it happen?
Yeah, I mean, our timeline has always been that for us to get approvals by the end of this calendar year, and then we would go into deep planning in design, which will take about a year, and then really start demolition in 26. And that gives us ample time to be open by 2031.
Why is the team doing this? Why is it a good business decision?
But really simple. We're the only team in the state of Pennsylvania that doesn't own their own home. You look at, the Phillies and Eagles used to share a home, and they decided they wanted to control their own destiny, control their own home. 27 of 30 NBA teams play downtown. That's still soon going to be 28 because San Antonio just announced in conjunction with the city of San Antonio a multi-billion-dollar redevelopment downtown to bring an arena downtown. And so, we're going where the puck is headed. We've enjoyed our time at Wells Fargo, but that building doesn't have what our fans today and what basketball fans want from an amenity, a sightline, and from a premium perspective that the newer arenas have.
So elaborate on that. How will it become more fan-friendly?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a difference. So that building was built in 1995, which means it was conceived it opened in 95, 96, which means it was conceived in 1990. Okay. And so you think about that, being over, 30 something years ago, the world's changed, designs have changed. And so the goal is a smaller, more intimate bowl is kind of what the future is for these, whether you think of Milwaukee or Intuit or Sacramento or any of those buildings. There's just a more intimate feel. Our current building doesn't have the premium space and the entertainment space that other buildings have. When you look at it, we have one half-court lounge, for all of the lower level, and it's just not enough. And kind of the facilities. I mean, I remind people we don't own the building, but we as a team had to put $12 million in to redo the locker room and owner areas. Mark, my day job, I'm in the apartment business. I wish somebody would pay to do my kitchens and bathrooms for me, right? So, there are lots of things you've heard me talk about, whether it's schedule or amenities or, convenience. How about this stat? 45% of all Ubers to the Wells Fargo Center during a Sixers season start in Center City. 45%. That's not David Adelman's data. That is Uber's data. Okay.
Yeah, but that bothers me from the standpoint that why don't they take the subway? And that's going to be a big part of you attracting fans to Center City is public transportation.
Well, so look at it this way. That 45% of fans that are starting in Center City, that means they live or work there. They're already there. Okay. And yes, the subway will be a big part. Okay. I live in the main line, and for me to get on, I've done this now like over 20 times to test it out. Hop on the regional rail, and I'm there in 22 minutes. Okay. For me to go to a game during the season midweek, leave my house in Haverford, takes me an hour. Okay. 22 minutes is a lot better than an hour. And when you think of the ability to give, we don't have the opportunity to give our fans a pregame experience. Okay. Our fans don't go to Xfinity. We have the data. Our fans don't go to Xfinity Live pregame, and we have no postgame activities for them. We want to, when you see what happens in other downtown venues, people go eat first, they go to the game. Our games are over at 9:00. Go get a drink, go do something. That creates energy and vitality to a city. Now people in Philadelphia aren't used to that, but again, 27 teams around the league do that and have that energy. And that's really what we want to bring back. And as a Philadelphian, for me to help bring Center City back is really important to me.
There's certainly been a visceral reaction on both sides, and a survey conducted last year by the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation. I know you could probably cite the figures by heart, but for the benefit of our audience, 93%, this is according to the survey from the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation, 93% of business owners, 94% of residents, 95% of visitors oppose the arena. Opponents of the arena worry about the development destroying Chinatown and its cultural identity while displacing longtime residents and businesses. I know you've made it a big part of your pitch to try to allay those fears. What have you told those people, and have you made any progress?
Yeah, so first of all, I think this is a really important fact. There was only 156 people interviewed in that survey. I think facts matter. Okay. Right. So when you have under 200 people surveyed for a survey, the headline numbers of 93%, again, I'm not saying they shouldn't do surveys, but that's not a statistical, relevancy as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. My view is this arena should be good for Center City and good for Chinatown. And what I've said publicly, and I've said it to members in Chinatown, is what is Chinatown's future without the arena post-COVID? What industry is left in Chinatown? What's happening is, and this is fact, more Chinese people live in the Northeast Philadelphia than in Chinatown right now. They've been emigrating to, there's a big section of Northeast Philly where they are. And so I'm just saying, let's work together to create some vibrancy, cleanliness, public safety, street cleaning, cameras. Those are all things that we've committed to paying for to help bring that part of the city back, which is really, it's kind of the desert right now. When you look at Market East, 2 blocks from City Hall, you've boarded up retail. The Gallery Mall is running at a very low occupancy right now.
Earlier this year, Comcast Spectacor, the owners of Wells Fargo Center and the Flyers, launched a plan for a sports and entertainment complex featuring hotels, residences, restaurants, shops, and a small arena for musical performances and whatnot. This would support the current sports complex, which includes, of course, Citizens Bank Park and Lincoln Financial Field. And reportedly, the Sixers were invited to join, and the team said no. Why?
We said no for a bunch of reasons. One, we want to control our own destiny. Two, I think people talk that they've reached out to us. They've only reached out in the media, by the way. But the truth, so we don't take it seriously. And two, most importantly, when someone is openly subverting your plans, both publicly and privately, why would you want to be partners with them? I'm just being honest. But none of that steers away from us moving downtown, controlling our own destiny, having our own home like the other teams have. Comcast is entitled to protect their single arena monopoly in the city, which is what they've been trying to do. This other plan you're talking about, they've been talking about it for 20 years. I hope it happens. We need the jobs. Let's build it. For 20 years, I've been saying they should do something at the sports complex, but we don't need to be there. And I hope it gets done without us. I don't know that hotels and all of those things are getting built in phase 1. I hope they do. I don't know what that's going to do for traffic. John Middleton did an interview a couple weeks ago where he said his number one pain point is traffic. So now you're going to take away surface parking, add structured parking. I don't know what that does for the Eagles, tailgating experience. So I have a lot of questions as a Philadelphian, as a developer, forget my own interest as a, someone building a competing project. But Philadelphia needs the jobs. If we can, between my project and their project, build do $4 to $5 billion of construction over the next 10 years, let's build it all.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of Fresh 24. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our friends over at Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering your favorite teams across blogs and social media. PHLSportsNation.com. Philadelphia Sports Nation. PHL Sports Nation. Enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience.